Can't believe I'm doing this. A Q&A, finally. I just wanted to say thank you. So, without further ado, let's do this. Hello, hello, hello. My name is Nakia. Welcome to my channel. Yes, I am finally taking the plunge. This is not easy for me. I'm a private person, Cancer, like to be in my shell. So I'm peeking out to answer some of your questions, to say thank you for helping me to get to 5,000 subscribers. If you hear any clickety clackities, it's my daughter on her computer. We in real life here. But anyway, I didn't want to make this a big deal because the numbers, can be a bit much on YouTube and it's a competition thing and I don't want any of that. But I really am grateful to each and every one of you. So I was like, I do want to do a Q&A eventually. Let me open up the floor for questions, which I have done. And I just want to say all 5,000 of my subscribers are not from BookTube. I started with about 2,700, I think, from previous videos I used to do for natural hair and veganism, etc. Yes, so I have gained about 3,000 subscribers since starting BookTube, and it is just mind-blowing to me. I have learned so much along the way, which will come up in some of these questions. But anyway, I got my Prosecco here to celebrate. And again, thank you all so much, especially those of you who interact with me in the comments. I love our chit chats. Thank you for those of you who donate to me on Ko-fi. Link is always below. I'm just grateful for all your support. So without further ado, let's get into these questions. Take a little sip before we start. I need it. Cheers. I'm going to start with the questions that I got here on YouTube. I posted it in my community tab asking for your questions for this video, and then I'll jump to the ones I got on Instagram. Once again, I posted something in my story. Check my community posts all the time. Check my Instagram stories. You never know. I'm going to try to keep these short and sweet because I have a ton of questions and I want to get through each and every one. So some of my answers will be short because, like I said, we're going to keep this moving. But question number one, why did you decide to join BookTube? Have you always been an avid reader? I talked about this in my BookTube newbie tag, which I will link here, but basically I was doing videos for, like I said, natural hair and veganism. I had stopped. I wasn't doing any YouTube for a couple years. And in 2020, around September, I decided to get into reading. I searched on YouTube just looking for books to read. And then I was like, what's all this? People talking about books? I want to talk about books. So I just jumped in, did my first video, a book review of Lock Every Door, which was the first book I read that got me back into reading. And yeah, like I said, I just wanted to put something out that I could be proud of, that I could always be involved in. And I knew that I was going to start reading and that it would be something I could feel good about putting out there, as I already said. And have I always been an avid reader? No, I definitely was when I was a child. I used to love to go to the book fair. I used to read a lot of Christopher Pike books, and I used to read Babysitter's Club, all of that good stuff from the 80s and I think early 90s. And then high school happened and middle school, and I just got too busy with friends and just school reading just turned me off from reading. So I stopped reading for a good while, and then I got to college, still really wasn't into it. And then around in my early 20s, I did read a little bit here and there, and I tried to keep up with Oprah's book club, but I would always get a book and not really read it. I did really get into a book that she had as a book club selection. I will put it here on the screen because I can't think of the name of it right now, by James Fry. And I was so into that book, it would have probably reinvigorated me. But then the controversy happened with him and I put the book down, didn't go back to it. And then I still did the same thing where I would pick up books, read a couple pages, put them down, never keep reading. Then we got to 2020 and now I'm back. But I have always loved books and reading. I used to take my daughter to the library when she was growing up. I always read to her. I always had a bookshelf with books in my house. So reading has always been important in my family. But like I said, as far as reading every day, no, I did not do that all my life. But I'm back, as I said. Let's move on. Question number two, how do you annotate? I don't. If you don't know, I don't really keep physical books. I borrow most of my books from the library. I also get books on my Kindle. So I do highlight stuff on my Kindle, and I just found the notes function on there. So I do put notes on there. But mostly I will just take pictures of quotes or stuff that I want to remember. I have my journal, so I will write in my journal. But as far as writing in the book, yeah, I don't do that. Question number three. For this question, I guess I'll take another sip. What kind of wine do you like? I love this question. Well, since you asked, I love red wine, and the drier, the better, honey. I don't like a hint of sugar. So I love a Bordeaux, a Chianti. I also have had some Malbecs that I've enjoyed here and there. So yeah, like I said, get me a nice dry wine, a red wine blend too that's dry. I love it. Next question. What's your favorite book genre? I love thrillers, mystery, suspense, especially a locked room where you got to figure out who the killer is, mystery type of book. I love it. I love middle grade fantasy and middle grade horror. I still enjoy regular adult horror books, but I'm just very picky about those. So I'm enjoying more short story collections lately. Got one right here. I love sci-fi, and especially a sci-fi combo like sci-fi thriller, sci-fi horror. Love it. And historical fiction mixed with something. Historical fiction mysteries, historical fiction horror books, which are more so gothic. I love them. Again, I just love books that take me to another place and another time. So like I said, that's why I love sci-fi and historical fiction mixed in with things so much. So yeah, love a fantasy world. Urban fantasy. Next question. How many physical books do you own? Let's see. 1, 2. This is from the library, and I can see my other books over there. 3, 4, 5. That's it. I will link to my minimalism video where I also showed my book collection at the time, but I've also gotten rid of some books since I did that video. So yeah, I think I have like 5 physical books. As I said, don't really keep physical books. I'm for keeping books that I love and have read and want to reread in the future, which I probably will start to get more short story collections because those I can pick up and read anytime. But yeah, other than that, I don't keep a lot of physical books. Let's move on. Next question. Proudest moment on BookTube, and also do you have any embarrassing moments from BookTube too? Well, proudest moment on BookTube would be when I did the live show with Kayla from Books and Lala and Elias to discuss The House Across the Lake. You don't know, but I was so nervous to do that video. I mean, I wanted to do it because I love Kayla and I love Elias, and I also loved Riley Sager. So I was so excited, but I was so nervous. So, I mean, I took so many notes while reading the book, and I just wanted to be coherent and feel like I was being myself, because one of my more embarrassing moments, which you probably don't think so if you've seen the live show, but it was when I did a live show on Gabby Reed's channel that was last year for horror BookTube people, and I was just so uncomfortable. I was so nervous. I felt out of my element because horror is not my top genre, and so I didn't really have a lot of recommendations and stuff, so I just felt so uncomfortable. And so I am proud of what I did for Kayla's video because I felt super comfortable, relaxed, and I felt like I was knowledgeable about the book and I had good things to add to the discussion. So I'm very proud of that. Also proud of something that didn't happen on BookTube, but it involves BookTube. But it is when I was featured on Book Riot for a list of mystery thriller booktubers you should know. I will put a screenshot of it here. Like, oh my God, I sent that to my family. I was just so excited because I was like, little old me who just got here? Me? I was so excited. And one of the things that they put me in that article for was the fact that I do spoiler reviews. And I just really have felt like my reviews don't get that many views. But you know what? I'm getting back to where I started on this channel with reviews, and I want to bring you more spoiler reviews, which will mostly be for like thriller mystery books because that's what you really want to know. So yeah, those are some of my proudest moments so far. Oh, and another embarrassing one, I've since have made that video private, but it was a tag video I did. It was like the horror nerd tag video or whatever, and I was just being too much of a character. I got on here trying to show that I'm an actor, and I did some darker makeup, and it was just, like I said, I'm embarrassed, so I took it down. Anyway, it's just some. Next question. This one's a hard one. If you ever wrote a novel, what would it be about? Oh my Lord in heaven. I think I would do a gothic historical fiction horror book. That's a haunted house book. Yeah, it would definitely be atmospheric. It would take place during fall time. And that's about all I got for now. I used to be a writer and I used to write screenplays. I tried to write novels. I just couldn't come up with enough for the descriptions of the scenery. I was much better with screenplays and dialogue. So that's all I can give you right now. Sorry. Not a writer, I'm a reader. Sip. I am drinking this champagne. I want you to think it's just for show. Next question. Do you still read urban literature? If so, which would you recommend? No, I do not. That is in my former days. That is what I used to read in my 20s. And so no, I did read Michael Baisden. I forgot the name of that book. I'll try to put a screenshot of it here. I did enjoy that book back in the day. Of course, like a lot of people, I used to enjoy Terry McMillan's books. So I did enjoy Waiting to Exhale. I think I also read How Stella Got Her Groove Back. Those. But it's so funny because I can't stand romance now. That's a lot of what's in urban fiction, urban literature. So yeah, not my thing anymore. Next question. What movies do you think are better than the book? This is a good one. I would say when I finally read Coraline, I prefer the movie to the book. The book was still good, but I love Coraline. Like the movie, one of my favorites. I've said this in many videos. I put it on probably once a week. Love it, love it. No lines by heart, all of that. And actually, I would say The Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark movie is better than the book. But I mean, the book is for kids. The movie's for adults, darling. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the sequel. I really enjoyed that. I can't really think of other adaptations I've seen. I'm sure there are others. If I think of any more, I will put them here on the screen. That's what I got for right now. Let's move on. Next question. Did you have any expectations joining BookTube? Do you have any goals for your channel? Do you still act or plan to in the future? Thank you for all those great questions. Did I have any expectations joining BookTube? To be famous. To be able to make this a full-time job. Other than that, no, I don't care about the fame part, but I did want to make this a full-time job, which I don't see that happening anymore. Probably maybe one day if I ever do Patreon, but I don't know, that would have to be way in the future because I don't want to promise you guys something I can't deliver. And I can barely keep up with this channel as it is. But other than that, no, because I just jumped in and I didn't really look at a lot of stuff. But when I saw there were booktubers out there with 100,000 subscribers and stuff, I was like, oh, I want that. Do you have any goals for your channel? Like I said, I would love to be able to make this a full-time job one day or even part-time, and then I can quit my full-time job and do something else part-time. Yeah, I just want to keep growing and getting more subscribers, the usual. Do you still act or plan to in the future? No, I do not. I got into reading because I was over Hollywood and acting and all of that good stuff. I have lots of reasons why that I won't go into. They're personal things, and I don't miss it one bit. Next question. How do you resist the urge to buy a ton of books / new releases from BookTube? Man, I struggle. I'm sorry if you struggle. I would say part of the problem is probably BookTube and Bookstagram and BookTok from what I can see. As someone who didn't own any books, like new books, before I got on here, I can see how this platform could make you want to buy a lot of books. I just don't like having a lot of stuff that I'm not using. Every purchase I make, I try to do it consciously. And so anything I buy, I always am like, do I love this? Do I need it? Will I use it in the future? So it's weird to me to see people buying books they haven't read yet, because for me, that already checks off one of the boxes. Am I going to use this in the future? I don't know because I haven't read it. So again, I'm only into buying books that I know I love and want to reread in the future that I can actually see myself rereading. I just try to buy things consciously, and I'm always aware of what goes into us getting things and, you know, the labor involved and the materials and all that stuff. So it's just something that's easy for me because that's just how I live my life altogether. But if you do struggle, I would say probably try not to watch so many haul videos and people just always talking about buying new books, and don't buy into subscription boxes and stuff like that. I don't do any of those things. So that's what helps me. Next question. Any character / author that you feel you relate to closely? Not really. I would say there's attributes of a lot of characters I've read that I feel I can relate to. Like I really related to the single mom in Stillhouse Lake. She was a fighter, tough, wanted to do anything for her kid, didn't take no mess. I consider myself more like that. And of course, I've talked about Molly, the maid in The Maid, because she was just so nitpicky about people's cleanliness and things that irritated her. And she was just so straightforward and to the point with things she had to say. I'm more like that. Like when someone is going on and on and on, I'm like, could you just answer the question? I hope I'm not doing that right now. But anyway, I'd probably say those two. Authors, no, not that I've seen so far. Next question. I knew I was gonna get some DNF questions. Is there a book you DNF but tried it again and really enjoyed it? No. You know me. When I DNF, that's a wrap. I don't go back. That's pretty much it. I mean, or it'll be on my list of like books that I think I may go back to later. I guess maybe there have been some before I say I'm DNFing it. I'll put it down and I'll go back to it and I'll be like, nah. Yeah, I've had a couple of Darcy Coates books. I'll put the names here on the screen that I put them down, tried to go back, and then I was like, nah. And if I think of any other ones, I'll put them here on the screen. But most of the time, no. When I'm done, I'm done. It's just the way I live my life. Next question. Have you experienced any pros or cons being a Black booktuber? No, not that I know of. I really just try to focus on me, mind my business. So if there are things, I wouldn't know because like I said, I just focus on me. Next question. What are your most favorite videos to film and which ones are more difficult? My most favorite videos to film actually are probably the ones that I read reviews or where I just sit down. I don't have to remember any books. I'm just looking at reviews and comments and things like that and reacting to those. So I guess my reaction videos. And then TBRs, because those are quick and easy, short and sweet. The ones that are most difficult, but I still enjoy them, are my wrap-ups because I always have to remember so much to say. And also, whenever I do list videos like most anticipated book releases or book recommendation videos, again, those are a lot because I always try to give a synopsis and keep track of who the authors are and all that stuff. So yeah, those are difficult to film, but again, I still enjoy them. Next question. How much time do you spend reading each day? Do you often use Libby for ebooks? I don't spend enough time reading each day. I've talked about this before too. Because I work 40 hours a week, when I'm done working, I will get in bed for a nap and read before I take my nap. So at that time, I probably read like 20 minutes. And then when I wake up, I try to read a little bit more that evening. Doesn't always happen. If I do, I'll probably read another like 20 minutes or so. But I'll say probably 20 minutes a day. And then I get the most done on the weekend. So as long as I don't have anything else to do, I will spend a good couple hours reading on Saturday and Sunday. But lately, I haven't had much time for that either. So that's why my reading has been slacking a bit. It's just taking me longer to get through books. And if I have a book where I have the audio book, then I'm listening, almost every day. Or when I go run an errand or something. So that'll give me an extra like 40 minutes of listening time. But like I said, during the week, probably about 20 minutes a day. Could do more. Oh, and do you often use Libby for ebooks? Yeah, I am using Libby more recently. Like I said, I like to use it for audiobooks and I am trying to use it more for ebooks. But generally, I try to get the hard copy from my library. But if I do need an ebook and it's available on Libby, I am using it. So yeah. Next question, another DNF question. What book did you DNF that was the biggest disappointment, either due to the hype or because of your expectation? This is a recent one. Talked about this in my August wrap up, but Upgrade by Blake Crouch. That one was one of my most anticipated book releases of this year because I love Blake Crouch and I was just so disappointed that this just was not for me. It's not a bad book. I still enjoyed his writing. The story just wasn't for me. And that one I pushed through so far because I was just like, I cannot DNF a Blake Crouch book. But yeah, that's probably the one from this year anyway. Let's move on. Told you got a lot of questions. Next, what book or books do you read when you want all the nostalgia vibes? So this just actually recently came up. So of course I have my Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark Treasury book. I meant to have it here next to me, but it's on my shelf. But I will pick up that one and read some stories from that because it just reminds me of my childhood. And then recently, I picked up some Berenstain Bears books because like Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, it reminds me of my childhood. It's a quick, easy read. I don't need something that's going to be 200-300 pages where I'm going to struggle to get through it. I need something quick. So yeah, something from my childhood. Like I said, one of those two, that's always going to pick me up. Next question. They said, how exciting. What are some of your favorite booktubers to watch? Who is your all-time so far favorite character from a book and why? Thank you for being excited for me. I really don't like the favorite booktubers question because I don't want to single people out. But I will say I am watching less actual booktube videos lately because I'm trying to read more. Just noticing a lot of content focusing on buying new books and I don't necessarily need that. So I am enjoying videos that are more like calm, relaxing vlogs where they also talk about books. So I love Darling Desi. Her videos are just so comfy, cozy. I found her channel, I feel like it was around this time last year and I binged so many of her videos. I just love them. And I also love Morgan Long. She's another one. She does comfy, cozy vlogs. She lives in Oregon, which I have visited and love and hope to return to one day. So I just love her videos. Once again, she does talk about books as well, but it's just more focused on just relaxing and enjoying everyday life. So those are some of my current favorites. And yeah, that's all I'm gonna say for now. Like I said, I don't want to single people out. So next question. Oh wait, you had another question. Who is your all-time, so far, favorite character from a book and why? I would say it's a side character that was in Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. I can't mention the character because it's a spoiler, but I just loved that character and I can't wait to see what they do with it in a movie. I can't wait to see. That's all I can say. Next question. What's your favorite and least favorite thing about BookTube? Example, community, readathons, overhyped books, pressure to read tons, the variety of recommendations or lack thereof. Also, I freaking love you, Nakia. Thank you. I love you too. Favorite booktuber by far? Sad I've been missing your videos lately. Life is so hectic. It's okay. You catch up when you can. But yeah, so to answer your question, probably everything you said. My favorite thing about BookTube is finding out about new books and just people talking about books and loving books. My least favorite thing would probably be, once again, like you said, the pressure to read a ton. I have felt that since joining BookTube. I feel like I don't read enough, and I never felt that way before because one book was more than I had done previously. And again, the consumerism part of it, just always watching people just buy so many books and then feeling like I have to buy books. And so, yeah, but really the pressure to read a ton and that part of it. Yeah, that answers that question. Next question. If someone were to write the perfect book for Nakia, what boxes would it have to check? I would say urban fantasy, great atmosphere. That's why I said my book would take place in fall. Some kind of mystery, magic, and I would say a little bit of darkness in there too. All of those things. Next question. Does your daughter read books as much as you do? If so, what is her favorite genre? No, she does not read books as much as I do. She tries, but no, she reads other forms of media. But her favorite genre is fantasy, which is why she tried to push that on me when she picked books for me in April. I'm doing better, but I'm not like her. I don't read the fantasy that she reads. Next question. Do you sometimes feel that the internet/social media robs you of the time you could spend reading? Do you ever annotate the books you read from? Where do you get your books from? And what do you do with the books you don't want to keep? Cheers from Poland. Thank you. Wow. I'm always amazed when I have people who watch me from other countries. Wow. So do I sometimes feel that the internet/social media rob me of time I could spend reading? No, because I say at the end of my videos, I unplug as much as possible. I mean it. I only hop on Instagram here and there to just check to make sure no one's messaged me, because that's the only way you can contact me. Other than that, I try not to spend time on social media. That is the only other form of social media I have other than YouTube. And I'm doing better with watching less YouTube in general as well. I don't have Facebook, Twitter, none of that mess. No TikTok. And I answered the annotation question. No, I don't. Where do I get my books from? As I said, I don't buy physical books, but if I do, I will get them secondhand from, lately I've gotten them from Amazon. And again, I do buy books from my Kindle. And what do I do with the books I don't want to keep? I did just recently give some books to my library, and those were books I had for a long time. And I was just like, I don't need these on my shelf. So if I do need to get rid of books, which like I said, I don't really buy physical books, I would donate them to my library. So thank you for the question, all the way from Poland. Next question. I think you mentioned this before, but I would love it if you talked more about veganism and eco-minimalism. What got you interested in these topics? How do they impact your life? As far as reading, what are your favorite book tropes? Yeah, I don't know. I'll just link to my veganism video here. That is the most viewed video I have. Took me by surprise, but I mean, I don't know what else to say about veganism besides, you know, I watched a documentary called Earthlings and went vegan right then and there. Eco-minimalism is a large part of my life. I'm just always conscious of where things come from. As I said, our planet. I really got into it with the channel Shell Bizzle here on YouTube. I learned so much from her. I still watch her and subscribe to her. So yeah, that's really what got me into those things. And they impact my life every day with all of my purchases, everything I do. And as far as reading, what are your favorite book tropes? Like I said, I love a closed room, locked mystery. I love if there's some kind of game, even though those haven't done me well so far. Again, if it takes place back in the 1800s or something, love that too. If someone wakes up with some form of amnesia, don't know what's going on, that always piques my interest as well. I'm sure there are others I can't think of right now. Getting to the end of the YouTube questions. You guys had a lot. Next one, so excited for this. Thank you, me too. What's the best part of creating content and the most challenging for you? What are your top 3 books of all time? You guys came with the questions. Let's see, what's the best part of creating content and most challenging? The best part I would say is when I sit down and get in front of the camera, it's just easy breezy for me. I don't know if that comes from my, experience as an actor, just comfortable doing it. I know it's not easy for some people, but yeah, that's probably my favorite part, is just filming the videos. And then honestly, I love to watch my videos back, because after I've done all the editing, I have to check it to make sure everything's fine. Miss some stuff here and there, but I just love to be able to sit back and relax and watch my videos, because if I don't enjoy them, why would you? And most challenging would be coming up with ideas for videos, but I'm not going to worry about that so much in 2023. Woo! Can't believe it. And feeling like I have to keep up with people, which again, I'm not going to be worrying about that going forward. And top 3 books of all time. Of course, I always say my Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark book. I love it. God, this is hard because I don't know. I haven't read a lot. I would say The Passengers by John Mars. And, oh geez, I don't know. Maybe Autumn Crow? Again, I don't know. I have Amari here too. I don't know. It's hard to answer that. Go with those for now. So that wraps up the YouTube questions. Now, let me get into the questions submitted on Instagram. Quench my thirst. I'm not getting to drink much because I'm trying to get these questions out. But first question submitted on Instagram. Thank you all. If you had to serve one vegan dish to convert a meat eater, what would you make? I wouldn't try to convert anyone because I've tried that. It doesn't work. I wouldn't try to give them anything that's a substitute for meat because that's not going to work. If you love meat, you love cheese, I can't convince you otherwise. But I would fix something that I feel like you don't have to be vegan to enjoy, because there's plenty of things that are vegan that people don't realize, like mashed potatoes and baked potatoes and stuff. It's like regular things that you eat are vegan. But there's this creamy garlic broccoli pasta I make. I love it. I usually put tofu in it, but I could take that out if someone doesn't want the tofu. I've made a vegan lasagna that was delicious. I even took that to work one time and I had a coworker who was like, "What's that?" I was like, "Mind your business, it's my lunch. We don't share food." But yeah, like I said, I would do one of those things or order from one of my favorite vegan restaurants. I have one nearby that everyone loves in my family, vegan or not. So yeah, I probably would take them to a restaurant. But yeah, one of those two. Good question though, thank you. Next question, how did you find out about the book Hell Divers? I wonder who submitted this question. Of course, my daughter. She chose this for me for my April TBR video. I've talked about it enough. And thank you for submitting this question, my daughter. Next question. What's your favorite genre of music? You'd probably be surprised, but not if you pay attention to my stories on Instagram. My favorite genre of music is jazz and classic jazz. I love me some Louis Armstrong, some John Coltrane. As far as vocalists, Ella Fitzgerald, Billie Holiday, Sarah Vaughan. I just love jazz. I listen to it every week. I always put it on when I'm cooking. It relaxes me. It soothes me. I try to keep my mind as clear as possible, away from all the stuff out there. So yeah, I mean, clearly I just love stuff from old times when things were simpler. We're not gonna talk about the bad stuff, but anyway. And I do love me some Bob Marley. I also listen to him. And I like lo-fi music. Again, things that keep my mind where I need it to be. Next question. What's your favorite book of 2022 so far? This was difficult too. I don't like picking favorites. I don't want to pick favorite booktubers, favorite books, none of it. But so far, I would say I really enjoyed Mickey 7. Of course, Amari and the Night Brothers, Hell Divers Book 1, and The Maid. I know I was supposed to pick one, but I can't. So we're going to go with those. Next question. What's the most number of books you've read in a year? Also, your hair is gorgeous. Thank you so much. I do put a lot of work into it. The most number of books I read in a year would be last year, 2021. I read 47 of the 50 books I wanted to read. I'm not doing so well this year, but last year I put a lot of pressure on myself and I tried to take it easy this year. So I'm really curious to see what 2023 is going to hold. But I'm proud of what I did last year, even though, like I said, I stressed out a little bit. I don't recommend it. Next question. Did you read spooky books as a child? Why, yes, I did. I've talked about this. As I said, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I read a lot as a child, and Christopher Pike books. I think I dabbled in R.L. Stine, but I read him more now because I don't really care for Christopher Pike as an adult, but I loved Christopher Pike when I was a child. And I think those were the main ones. Next question, your go-to genre no matter what. It's funny, if I had filmed this probably a month ago, I would have said suspense thrillers, which I do still love my thriller mystery books. But I had some trouble reading last month, and what brought me out of it was middle grade and my Berenstain Bears books. So I feel like those are just easy breezy. I don't have to worry about anything. They're usually shorter. Sometimes there's illustrations. So yeah, I know it's probably not what you would expect, but I would say middle grade fantasy or horror books. And I'll throw in my Berenstain Bears too. My battery's about to die, so I'm gonna try to finish this. I don't think I can, but next question. What compelled you to start YouTube? I already answered this previously, but thank you for the question. And last one, what's your ride or die book, one you can reread forever and never get bored of? I know I've said this 1,000 times, I already answered this too, but my Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark book, never get tired of it. So, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up this video. I'm speeding through my outro so I can get it out, but thank you so much for 5,000 subscribers. Thank you for watching, subscribing, commenting. And if you made it this far in the video and you want to let me know, leave me the champagne glasses emoji. Ways you can support my channel are always linked below. And until next time, snuggle up in your hideaway with a good book, unplug as much as possible, be kind to all kind, and I will see you in the next video.